Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm Angela Alioto, the chair of the 10-year plan to end chronic homelessness. Let me just say, I think some of you might remember the mayor's race of 2003. I know Gavin does. It was quite a race, and at the end, Gavin and I agreed that our one goal was to do all we could for the homeless and the poor of our great city of St. Francis. As a consequence, the new mayor, Newsom, in January of 2004, appointed an incredible committee of about 30 people to create the 10-year plan to end chronic homelessness. Gavin said to me, Angela, you won't be able to do it by June. I said, I gave you a date. You will have a new plan by June. For 6 months, 30 incredible people, and I mean incredible people from every walk of life. The fun thing was to have the hotel industry, the Chamber of Commerce, along with Paul Bowden and the activists from the Tenderloin all get along for 6 months and actually come through with one of the most incredible plans to end chronic homelessness and poverty in the city and county of San Francisco. And on June 29th, of 2004, Mayor Gavin Newsom announced the plan, and we are standing here today still with that plan. One of the things that came out of Mayor Newsom's new administration that I consider to be the most important program in the United States of America is Project Homeless Connect. This is one, I mean, a hand for the mayor on Project Homeless. While the 10-year plan to end chronic homelessness is giving people permanent supportive housing, while even today we need to address the issue of mental health, mental illness. That is the prong of permanent supportive housing, the supportive part, the mental health. And now that my best friend Jerry Brown is governor, and one of my closest friends is the lieutenant governor, we're going to focus on mental health for the state of California. I want to introduce some of the original members of that committee. I want you to know everybody told us we couldn't do it. And as we're standing here today, I believe it's very close to 4,000 people have gotten permanent supportive housing and are off the streets when they were chronically homeless, meaning they had been on the streets for more than 4 years with triple diagnosis and other mental health issues. Almost 4,000 people have a home that didn't have a home, and that's because of the 10-year council and Mayor Gavin Newsom. So I want to introduce Ann Marks, Michael D'Annunzio, I'm going to totally blank again, Lauren Hall, David Heller, Randy, Whitcomb, and it's one other people, John Hanley from Local 798 of the firefighters, and Dr. Richard Cunyon, who added one of our most important prongs, nutrition, to the 10-year plan. That was truly innovative. So it's my great pleasure that so many members of the original 10-year plan are here. And of course, Philip Mangano, the federal homeless czar under George Bush, who has now gotten Project Homeless Connect in over 50 states and in, I think it's over 230 cities in the United States, along with the 10-year plan, was also a member of that original committee. We are here today. And Judith is going to come up and help me. This is one of the most incredible human beings, and she has been in charge for 6 years doing one hell of a job taking care of the poor. One hell of a job.
Thank you, Angela. Today we're going to begin with a beginning invocation by Rabbi Peretz Wolf Puzan. I just want to, can I get an acknowledgement for the Jewish Relations Community Council and the consortium of Jewish community groups that are here today? If you can please stand, let's give you a round of applause. Rabbi, please join us.
Good morning. Are you all very comfortable? Good, stand up. Now, I'll make this very quick and I'll make this very easy. The best way to understand what you're doing today is the word justice. The word charity means to care. God doesn't care if you care. Even the God you may not believe in does not care if you care. But justice is what we're commanded to do. So I'm going to help you out with this. This is by way of a very moving prayer because you're going to move. Stand on your own. If you are able, please stand. You like that, don't you? You can take that with you. If you're able, if you're physically able, please stand on your 2 feet if you have them. I'm serious. Just stand. Stand. Feel yourself stand. Feel it. Or you're already a privileged person if you can stand on your own 2 feet. Second, feel your balance. If you can balance on your own 2 feet, you're also a very privileged person. It means you've got health. That is, everyone say this word, besedek. Those of you can go home tonight and say, I learned a Hebrew word. Say besedek. Now, what I'd like you to do is lift 1 foot and see how that feels. How long can you do that? Usually this would terminate all sermons if they had to be given on 1 foot. You can take that with you also. Now, feel that. Feel being unsteady. Say now, sedek. That means you're out of balance. All the people on the street today are out of balance. Something has knocked them off their own 2 feet. You're here today to do God's work, to put them back on their own 2 feet. But now we're going to do it one more time. Now, lift up 1 foot. Feel it. Feel being out of balance and reach out. I need you for a second. All right, now, do this. Do the same thing. Yeah. Now, hang on to the person next to you, but lift 1 foot. Hang on to the person next to you. Lift 1 foot. You are now balancing on the person next to you. Say sadaka. Sadaka. Say justice. Justice. Say justice, justice, you shall do.
Justice, justice, you shall do.
You're ready for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. For the past 3 years, Kaiser Permanente has been an incredibly generous supporter of Project Homeless Connect. Can I please get a round of applause for Kaiser Permanente? Randy Whitworth, the President of Public Affairs, is here to join us. Randy?
Thank you, Judith. First, I want to thank everybody who's here today to volunteer for Project Homeless Connect and say that Kaiser Permanente has been proud to sponsor Project Homeless Connect for the last 3 years. We have 50 physicians and staff here, and this is just an amazing, amazing activity. If you look around you, you'll see all walks of life in this room. You'll probably see some people who are older than you and who are younger than you. You'll see different cultures, different sexual orientations, people of all walks of life who are all here today working together. And it's just an amazing reminder of what we can do when we pull together as a community to address a need, to make a difference, to solve a problem. It doesn't matter who we are, because the one thing we all share in common today, whatever our belief system is, the belief that we together can make a difference and that we can change the world by working together in really big ways. And that's what we're all here to do today. So I think this is just a great example of San Francisco, the city that knows how, the city that knows how to take care of the underserved, and the city that knows how to win a World Series. So on behalf of Kaiser Permanente, I want to thank all of you who are here today to volunteer. I want to thank this great city. I want to thank Mayor Newsom for his leadership of Project Homeless Connect for the last 6 years. And just want to say, have a great day, happy holidays, and thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Kaiser, for your continued support. Just a couple of people that I want to acknowledge today. We had an incredibly generous donation of over 5,000 blankets that are being handed out in the front. And if I can please get a big shout out for St. Vincent de Paul, the Tzu-Chi Buddhist Foundation, Catholic Charities, and the San Francisco Interfaith Council. Thank you. We have a group of students, and I understand that this is the last time that they're going to be here as a group. I think there's over 123 students from Cardinal Newman Ursuline High School and Castro Valley High School. Can I get you guys to stand up? All right. A big special round of applause for Walden House, who's consistently been here helping us double time, triple time. Thank you, Walden House. We have a brand new service here today. Today we're going to be able to serve about 25 to 30 women in our mammo van. So if I could get a big round of applause for the Department of Public Health, UCSF, for being able to bring that service here today. This is my last Project Homeless Connect, and I just want to give a big thanks to both the mayor, the Department of Public Health for giving me the opportunity to be here. But more than anything, I want to say a really big thanks to all of you. What we are doing here in Project Homeless Connect is not only helping people who need a hand, but creating a community that can be here to work together, rich and poor, housed and homeless, to help people who are in need. Together, we're going to end homeless here in San Francisco. Thank you.
There's another very, very special person here who is my great pleasure to introduce to you. She works for the health department, but more importantly, she's a dear friend of mine and was on the 10-year planning council. She understands the value and the need for mental health care and also for respite. Homeless people leaving hospitals, big issue, and that's Barbara Garcia. Speaking of Barbara, you know, you have to have people on the inside that have a strong principle and belief that we can get a job done. In the mayor's race of 2003, I would get up and Gavin would be sitting next to me and I would say, Mr. Newsom, you're going to go to hell if you don't take care of the poor and the sick. Do you understand that? You are going to go to hell. And I just, where's that come from, Angela? And I go back and I sit down and I lean over and go, Gavin, you want a glass of water? And he looked at me like, this lady is totally, but there's a bottom line. Everything you all are doing here today, just being here, everything that they're doing down there today, from fixing wheelchairs to fixing eyes to fixing glasses to getting blood pressure to people calling home, everything you're doing, every minute of what you're doing right now is what it's about in life, and that is giving back, especially to the sick and the poor. And this man got it. He got into office and he worked day and night in an area that is extremely unpopular to the wealthy people that give you contributions. I mean, it's a bottom line. I miss honesty. It's very difficult to fight for the sick and the listen. Gavin, you can admit it's okay. You're lieutenant governor now. We're hot. We're statewide. Is a bottom line. You run and it's about the sick and the poor, and hey, you don't get a lot of people sending you checks. But he kept with it, and he understands it probably better than any elected official in the entire United States of America. And now we are lucky enough to have him on the state level, so he carries it all forward. In 2003, you could have never told me that one of my proudest acquaintances in my entire life is Mayor Gavin Newsom.
Thank you, Angela. Well, thank you all of you for taking the time to be here. It is a pretty remarkable thing to look back, yes, Angela, at the mayor's race in 2003. For those of you wondering what the heck we're talking about, Angela and I ran against each other for mayor, and we had at it on a few things. It was a time of tremendous controversy and frustration where everybody was pointing fingers in this town, and I give Mayor Brown a lot of credit for the investment he made, and I don't think he's ever legitimately gotten credit for the investment he made into the homeless delivery system, but he was probably best known for his frustration when he said that there's just no way a city can solve homelessness. And at the time, a lot of us jumped on him and said, what an audacious and outrageous thing. But I've come to appreciate that frustration. At the same time, I also appreciated we needed to move in a different direction. And so much of that campaign was organized around the issue of poverty eradication. and an expression of that frustration. It was one of the fundamental reasons Angela not only got in the mayor's race, but got into politics in the first place. It's part of her life, and it's part of her own struggles to reconcile the successes she has in her life with the realities, the frustrations of those that don't have those successes that need our help. I think it was Aristotle said you can't live a good life in an unjust society. And I think all of us recognize, as well as our life is going, when you see other people suffering, your own life is impacted by that. The Bible teaches us we're many parts but one body. And when one part suffers, we all suffer. And so that's the spirit that brought Angela and I together after the campaign. That's the spirit where she, and I needed her, but she challenged us. And, you know, and she didn't know if it was some political thing or it was part of my life. And I wanted to demonstrate to her that this wasn't politics. This is really important to me as a human being. This is why I got into politics in the first place as well. So we formed this partnership, and we put together this 10-year council to end chronic homeless. And then she formed a partnership, go figure, Angela Alioto, the great bomb thrower of modern political history, the great partisan Democrat, builds this unbelievable partnership with the Bush administration. It was beyond imagination, and becomes best friends with George W. Bush's homeless czar. No one believed it, but it meant a great deal to this city because that partnership bore tremendous fruit. The federal funding disproportionately started to come to city and county of San Francisco. Philip Mangano recognized it was a new day of energy and focus in our city. And because of Angela's passion and her deliberativeness and her faith and her devotion and her constancy and that hard-headedness, she brought this council together, and they put a plan together. And it was our job to implement that plan. And it was an audacious plan because it called for building more housing than any time in our city's history at a time when we were struggling financially. And we put that plan in writing, and we committed ourselves. As Rabbi will know, it's not just faith, it's works. We went out and we made it real. We made it so, and we organized ourselves, and we found the resources. And I think even, I don't know if our worst critics, because they'll never give us anything, but most folks in this town, the overwhelming majority, will recognize we built more housing than any time in our city's history for poor people. We housed more people in the last 6, 7 years than any time in our city's history for poor people. And I think we brought people together remarkably on this very vexing issue, to wit, my long-winded point. One of the pieces of this stool, it's one thing to talk about a continuum of care. It's one thing to talk about City Hall solving problems. It's never going to get solved at City Hall. To wit, Willie Brown was right. It requires people like yourselves, the rest of us, to get involved, not just those elected officials. And it requires us to get a sense of connection to the problem. And that's when this whole idea was born of Project Homeless Connect. It was out of some angst and frustration that I couldn't answer the question, how are you going to solve homelessness? What are you going to do as a new mayor? And I said, well, what are you going to do? And they said, well, what should I do? And I said, call St. Anthony's or Glide. It wasn't good enough. As much as that was important, I figured I needed a better answer. And so we put this together. And, you know, Alex Turk is here. You all needed to give a big round of applause to Alex, who really organized this thing and made this what it is today. And Alex was tasked with getting department heads and some volunteers together. And we started off just in a small gymnasium down in the Tenderloin, and few folks showed up. Most of them were protesting us because they didn't know what we were up to. Those Coalition of Homeless folks, I love you, but sometimes you frustrate. And you're right most of the time, though. I'll give you credit, even if we don't get it. But you were wrong about this, because they were out there giving flyers telling people not to participate in this, which was a remarkable thing. And weeks became months, months became years, And one of these became 5 and 10 and 20, and people started realizing we were onto something. As Angela said, 226 cities now across America, 3 countries have replicated this model. It's an extraordinary thing, and it's so simple. It is about connection. It's about connecting people, not just to a problem, but to solutions. And it's about building bridges and creating a different set of expectations. I've always believed that you got to believe something's possible in order to conceive it. First, the proverbial dream. And so we came together with a great idea. We believed that we could do something better and more special, and we started getting these partners. We started out with 2 or 3 partners, and now, as Angela says, you get eye exams and you get free eyeglasses, you get medical attention, and you get dental now attention, you get your wheelchairs, as she said, repaired. Think about that. That's an extraordinary thing. FedEx says we can find people's families because we got the most robust database in the world, and we were literally reconnecting families, but they didn't have a way to call their families, so Sprint said, hey, we'll help with long distance calls. And then folks said, well, it's one thing to call, but there's some legal issues that mean I can't get back home, and we have a whole legal team now, 20 or 30 people that are out there. All these things start evolving. Podiatry plan came together, say people are on their feet all the time, Rabbi, and they can't balance because they've got bunions, so we got the podiatrist here to help with that. And then people said, well, I just came because I want a little respite from the cold and the rain and from the stress, and so they wanted a massage, so we got massage here. And then they said, no, acupuncture is the real stress reliever, so we got acupuncture. And then folks said, no, I got some new holistic thing, and they're trying it out today downstairs. And others just came from music and art and kids and all that. It's just an amazing thing how it's evolved. And really, the evolution was directed by the great Judith Klein. And I want to just recognize Judith. This is in a frame. We just didn't bring the frame. But Judith, we thought today would be appropriate. All the work she has put into this and all that extra energy. She wasn't just, I always say the difference between success and failure in life is the difference between interested people and committed people. She found a way to get the interested people find excuses, committed people find ways of getting things done. Judith is the definition of commitment, and it seemed only appropriate. I only got a few days left to hand out so that today will be ever known in San Francisco as Judith Klein Day in our city. Judith, where are you? Where'd you go? There you are, by me. Thank you, Judith. Thanks for everything you've done. We're proud of her. She's not going far. Barbara Garcia, Angela Alioto mentioned Barbara Garcia. She's the new health director in San Francisco, and if anyone really wants to know how she got the job, the interview consisted of one question. Now, you'd think it's the health, $1.5 billion budget, one of the biggest health departments in the world. And, we could talk about cultural competency and that web of delivery in each and every one of our neighborhoods, and behavioral health and substance abuse and all the issues of primary care versus acute care, tertiary care, long-term aging, all those things. But all that I already knew. Where she stood on those things, I cared about one thing. I said, I'm out of here. Not particularly because I want to be out of San Francisco, but because I want to continue to serve, and my time was coming up here. And my passion is this thing called Project Homeless. She goes, I know, I commit to making sure it continues well past your time. So Barbara, we're holding you to that, because I'm coming back to volunteer. And I want to know this is going to continue on. I also want to just thank Dar. We've got our homeless czar, the person we call and text, and he's got fans, or at least a family member here. And Dariush has been, there is a family member, all right.
My son's class.
It's your son's class. Yeah, this is making Dar look good. But he deserves to look good. This is our point person. This is the guy that's out there till midnight or 1 in the morning. And if I'm still out at 1 in the morning, he's getting those text messages from me about folks down in South Van Ness that are in the median strips that need help. And I couldn't be more proud of Dar's work and his advocacy. He has been the delivery system to pull all these things together. So Dar, thank you from the bottom of our heart for all your great work. It's been unbelievable. The best of the best. Truly amazing. And we'll recognize Dar later. I'm going to do that somewhere else. Though I now regret not doing it here. To all of you, this is our 37th Project Homeless Connect. And we're about data here. And we had companies like Salesforce.com that gave us all this free equipment and free software, or this cloud that they talk about. And so I can say this definitively, 31,944 unduplicated clients have been served since we started this. Almost 32,000 human beings. That's amazing. And 21,644 of you. And that's not folks that came back. Many of you come back. 21,644 individual volunteers like yourself. That's amazing. So a big round of applause to all of you for making this happen. It's just amazing, truly. So you made a difference. Not only the people you're serving, you made a difference across this country, and we know around the world. We're making progress. We used to be going this direction. Now we're going this direction. We know that success on homelessness is not a place. It's not a definition. It's a direction. We know there is no having made it. We know the challenge continues to grow. We know it's not unique to the 47.5 square miles we call home San Francisco. We're providing services for people all over this region, this state, and this nation, and I'm proud of that. And we will always keep our doors open to help the most vulnerable and the most impoverished. And we know that this needs to continue, and we need to continue our passion and advocacy. So thank you all for everything you've done. And let me just end by recognizing the person I began recognizing, because in so many ways, you know, I wish we had a tape recorder of the conversations Angela and I had over the years, because sometimes she didn't think I was as engaged as I should have, and she let me have it. Other times she was inspired and would call and make me feel good, like maybe we were doing the right thing. And that's exactly what you need. That's called love. And so in that spirit of love, in that spirit that is Angela Alioto, this thing is framed too, and literally we're framing it, Angela. So this is just your temporary one. But this is a certificate truly recognizing Angela Alioto and everything she's done over the last 6-7 years, heck, over her life, and all the work that she's going to continue to do. Angela, thank you very, very much on behalf of all of us for everything. Thank you. And that will be framed to the 10-year Planning Council, to our entire staff at DHS and DPH and D everything else, to our state partners, our local partners, to Kaiser, to Blue Shield, to all the folks out there doing work every single day. We're proud of you. Thank you for continuing this, and we'll see you back here at the 38th Project Homeless Connect.
Thank you, everybody. If I could just get you to stay here 1 minute, we're going to just run through some of the logistics, and then we'll get the doors open. There's about 400 people waiting to get services, so we'll get you going real quick. Thank you.
Really quickly, Judith. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Phil Williams. I'm one of the early volunteers. Mayor Newsom went on KFOG radio in January 2005 and invited people to come and volunteer and live their values. I signed up in February 2005, and since then I've brought my wife, 2 best friends. I've met all sorts of people. I do the transportation. We created the story table. We just keep doing. He said, if you can think about it, do it. Don't chew a lot of fat about it. Don't hold committees. Get it done. Well, we've done it. So Mayor Newsom invited me. Judith Klain inspired me. And from the clients, the volunteers, the staff people in the office, from Joe Ramos, the wonderful photographer, and my wife who threw this together, we are giving Judith Klain something we hope means something to her. She means an awful lot to us. We love her, and she's made it possible for me to live my values. I came here in '83 searching for something, and she made it possible. So.
Okay, thanks for coming. Now we're moving on to the training portion of the day so we can get on the floor and get the doors open on time at 10. If you've already been assigned to an area, it should be written on your name tag. You can get up and go. If you are in client escort or general, please stay in the bleachers. Everyone who's assigned to an area located on your map, and please go there and check in with your area